The body never lies when it comes to love. It only whispers the things the heart is too scared to admit out loud. What if the way he touches you, the way he breathes beside you, the way his eyes rest on you in the quiet moments when no one is watching? What if all of that reveals more about his love than any words ever could? Because here's the quiet truth, my friend. A man's deepest feelings rarely come out in grand gestures or rehearsed lines. They show themselves when he's no longer trying to impress, when the masks drop, when the world is silent, and he just exists in the rawness of the moment. So before we go any further, take a second, hit that like button, tap subscribe, not for me but for yourself, because what we're about to explore isn't just another theory or tip, it's something deeper, something that might completely shift the way you feel a man's love, not just hear it. Now picture this. It's late. The lights are low, candles flicker, the room is still. There's no sound except your own heartbeat and the gentle presence of someone lying right next to you. He shifts, turns toward you, and pulls you in, not because it's routine, not because he wants something, but because something inside him feels calm and alive when your skin touches his. You don't say a word. You don't need to. That silence, it speaks louder than 100 messages. It carries a language older than speech. Let that moment breathe. Let it settle inside you. Because what just happened isn't about charm. It isn't about seduction. It's not some technique he read online. That moment is pure. It's not planned. It's not polished. It's real. And in that realness, in that unguarded stillness, love reveals itself. True love. The kind that doesn't need to perform. Somewhere along the way, the world tried to tell us that men are simple, only wired for touch, for surface attraction, for momentary sparks. But what if that story was wrong? What if the man who laughs with you over coffee isn't as revealing as the one who holds your hand after intimacy, his fingers lightly tracing the lines in your palm like he's trying to remember the shape of something sacred? Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it fate." And guess what? That unconscious part of a man, it doesn't speak loudest during the heat of passion. It speaks right after, in the hush that follows. It's in the way he stays close without needing to. It's in the way his body doesn't just touch yours. It respects it, honors it, like it's something he's grateful to know. This isn't about decoding signals or chasing reassurance. This is about watching the body speak the truths the mind can't quite say, the parts of him that are too quiet for words. They come alive when he forgets to be a man and just becomes human. If you really want to know whether he's in love, don't just watch what he does. Watch the moments when he's unaware of being seen. Those little slices of realness tell you more than any speech ever could. Because love, when it's deep and genuine, isn't loud. It's not all fireworks or shouting from rooftops. It's not set to dramatic music or perfectly timed confessions. Love is quiet. Love is him resting his forehead on yours when the world disappears. Love is when his breathing starts matching yours without effort. Love is in those pauses, when he's not rushing to leave, when he stays without needing a reason. He lingers because being near you feels like peace. That's not a move. That's not a strategy. That's truth living in his skin. We're not here chasing tricks or games. We're here for what's honest, for the kind of truth that lives in the silence. If that's what you're seeking too, then you're exactly where you need to be. Because today, we're going to unlock 4 deeply powerful behaviors. Things a man only does in bed when he's not just interested, but deeply in love. This isn't something he's read in a guide. These aren't habits. These are unconscious acts from a heart that's no longer hiding behind performance. So stay with me, because by the time we reach the end of this journey, you won't just wonder if he wants you. You'll understand whether he truly sees you, the whole you, and if his body, his silence, his stillness are echoing what his heart hasn't found the courage to speak yet. And remember, this isn't just about hearing it, it's about feeling it. So hit that like, tap subscribe, and let's keep going. All right, let's begin with the first one. His eyes, they don't lie. His gaze, his real, unguarded gaze, is a confession in itself. Eyes are the messengers of what the soul feels, but the mouth can't always express. When a man is in love, he doesn't just look at you, he lets himself be seen through his eyes. And there's a huge difference between the two. Many women have been trained to pay attention to words, the sweet lines, the I love yous, the charming gestures. But what if the most truthful thing he ever tells you never passes through his lips? What if it's hiding in his eyes? Picture this. You're lying next to him. Maybe your bodies are still warm from being close. Maybe the room is calm, filled only with your breathing and a quiet kind of afterglow. And he looks at you. Not a glance, not a quick peek. A real look, a gaze that lingers, that holds you there. His eyes settle into yours like they're discovering something they didn't expect. Something sacred. Something right. He doesn't flinch, he doesn't look away. In that moment, you stop being just another person in his life. You become the truth he wasn't sure he deserved, but can't let go of now. That moment, that stillness, isn't about seduction. It's not about impressing you. It's surrender. That's his heart taking off its armor. But maybe, just maybe, a small worry is sneaking into your thoughts. What if he doesn't hold eye contact? What if he looks away too quickly? What if everything between you feels a little too light, a little too playful, and not deep? He doesn't always mean for it to feel just physical, but when there's no depth in his gaze, no stillness in his touch, it often means there's a wall between you. That wall might be built from fear or from past pain, or maybe just habit, because most men aren't raised to be emotionally present. They're taught to act, to achieve, to conquer. But true eye contact, that's vulnerability. That's taking off the armor and saying, here I am. Carl Jung once spoke of the anima, the feminine energy that lives within every man. It's that intuitive, emotional part he rarely lets anyone see. But when a man holds your gaze during intimacy, it's that anima rising to the surface. It's his soul leaning in to say, this feels safe, let her in. Let me offer a new image. Imagine a soldier laying down his weapon, not in surrender to defeat, but in trust. He slowly removes his helmet, and for the first time, he looks someone in the eyes. Not as a warrior, but as a human being. That's what it feels like when a man truly locks eyes with you in love. It's not just about being seen, it's about allowing himself to be seen. At that moment, where he drops the performance and just connects, that's sacred. As Denzel once put it, when a man stops looking at the world and starts looking through you, that's not just vision. That's vulnerability. And vulnerability, that's the clearest sign that the moment is more than physical. It's meaningful, it's sacred. It's where he stops hiding. And here's something to remember. No man does this casually. Not even the most confident talker or the most seasoned lover. Affection can be faked. Interest can be mimicked. But presence doesn't lie. If he looks at you like you're something he's been searching for his whole life, something he didn't even know he needed, that's not just attraction. That's love showing its face. So next time you're close, don't just listen to what he says. Look deeper. Watch what his eyes reveal. Not the quick spark or fleeting glances, but the deep, unshaken stillness, the gaze that doesn't rush, doesn't scan, the one that says, I see you. Because that's where the truth hides. And if you've never seen a gaze like that, don't lower your standards for the ones who look through you. Wait for the one who truly sees you. Now, stay with me, because we're about to go even deeper into a kind of love that shows not just in the way he touches you, but in the way he gives to you. In the quietest, most powerful way. It's not about what he takes from the moment. It's about what he gives back. You're going to want to hear this. Let's talk about pleasure. Not just as desire, but as devotion. When he doesn't just want you, he worships you. If you want to know if a man truly loves you, watch what he does when he has the chance to be selfish and chooses not to be. Because real love isn't about the rush. It's not about getting to the finish line. It's about connection. Any man can touch your body, but the man who's truly in love, he touches your soul first. And how can you tell? It's in the little choices. He puts your pleasure above his own. Not to earn something, not to impress, but because he's most fulfilled when you are. Picture a musician. Not the kind who hurries through the notes to get to the end, but the kind who plays each chord slowly with care, who feels the music deep in his bones. That's what it looks like when a man is fully present, not just wanting you, but cherishing you. When he slows down, when he listens to your rhythm, when he learns your language and responds not with just his hands, but with his heart. Because lust is noisy, it grabs, it rushes, it wants more and more without depth. But love is different. Love listens, love pays attention, love stays. Love says, I'll wait, I'll linger, I'm here for everything you feel. Carl Jung might say this is where a man's shadow, the primal, raw part of him, meets his higher self. He's not pushing down his desire. He's lifting it, refining it. He's using it to serve something greater, you. Because real love isn't passive. It's not just soft words or gentle moments. It's fierce devotion wrapped in stillness. When a man is truly in love, he doesn't chase a moment. He sinks into it. He merges with it. The line between you and me dissolves. There's only us. His fulfillment becomes tied to your joy, and that's when his masculinity transforms not into dominance, but into presence, and that's where it gets real. He remembers what brings you joy. He pays attention to the little things. He checks in, not because he's uncertain, but because he genuinely cares. Because when his heart is involved, your happiness becomes his favorite language. It's in the way he slows down when he easily could speed up. In the way he asks, not because he's guessing, but because he wants to honor you. In the way he looks at you afterward, not like he wants something, but like he just witnessed something holy. Now maybe there's that voice in your mind whispering, but what if he's just pretending to be good? My ex used to do these things too, and he still left. And to that I say, yes, people can fake interest, they can fake charm, but they cannot fake reverence. They cannot fake that soul-deep stillness. Because when a man is truly in love, he doesn't treat your body like a game to win. He treats it like sacred ground, a place where love lives, a place where you are deeply seen. Every touch says you matter, you are safe, you are treasured. And that, my friends, that's not something you can memorize or rehearse. That kind of intimacy can't be faked. It only comes when the mask drops and the soul decides it's finally time to speak. Look for the man who doesn't just want to be near your body. Look for the one who wants to understand your soul, the one who's curious about what moves you. What stirs your heart? What makes you feel deeply seen? And now we're going even further into a moment that speaks louder than any kiss, any touch, any climax. It's the space after, when the heat has faded, but the energy still lingers. When the fire settles, does he stay in the warmth? Stay close now, because this next part could shift how you see everything. Number 3, the sacred afterglow. That quiet, meaningful pause where everything unspoken has a chance to rise. He doesn't run from the silence. He doesn't jump away or reach for distractions. Any man can take his shirt off, but only a man who's in love removes the deeper armor. Let that sink in. Because the truth? What happens after passion? That's where everything real lives. Most people think intimacy ends when the tension breaks, when the lights go off and the physical part is done. But real connection, real love, it doesn't disappear with the last breath. It begins in what comes next. That still, gentle space where bodies relax and hearts begin to speak. Carl Jung believed that in our most vulnerable moments the ego slips away, and in that space, something deeper, the shadow, emerges. Not the polished version of who he wants to be, not the confident mask he wears in the world, but the real man, the raw, unfiltered self. The one who stops pretending, the one who finally feels safe enough to just be. So ask yourself this, after the passion, when the rush settles, does he stay for the warmth? Does he stay for you? Picture it. You're lying side by side, your breathing softens, and silence wraps around you like a warm blanket. He doesn't roll away, he doesn't grab his phone, instead he pulls you in closer. Maybe he wraps you under his arm. Maybe he brushes his fingers down your shoulder, like he's touching something sacred, something fragile and holy. He doesn't need to say much. His body, his energy, they say everything. That kind of presence, that's not habit, that's not routine, that's not going through the motions. That's a soul speaking without sound. Because when a man stays in the softness of the afterglow, when he chooses to stay connected instead of checking out, he's not just extending the moment, he's anchoring it. He's telling you without using words, this wasn't just about my body, this meant something to me. Maybe he says something small, maybe he tells you something random about his day, or something from his childhood, a fear, a dream. It might seem like nothing, but don't overlook it. That's his shadow rising. That's his unconscious finally trusting the space enough to come forward. That's him saying, you're strong enough to see the real me. And let me be real with you, most men are terrified of being seen that way, because they've been taught to stay guarded, to keep things light, to treat intimacy like a performance, to move on fast and not sit in the aftermath. But the man who is in love, he can't run, not because he's weak, but because love has made him strong enough to stay. His defenses fall, not because he's slipping, but because your presence makes him feel safe. That's why the small things he does afterward matter more than you think. The way he absent-mindedly strokes your hair, the way he breathes you in like he's finally found home, the way he doesn't rush the silence but lets it wrap around you both like a shared prayer. That's stillness. That's not emptiness, that's intimacy. That's two hearts finding rhythm in the quiet. And maybe you've experienced the opposite. Maybe you've been with someone who turned cold right after, like flipping a switch. 1 minute warm, the next minute distant, leaving you confused, questioning if the closeness was ever real. That kind of emotional withdrawal cuts deep. But let me tell you something from the heart. Real love doesn't vanish that quickly. Love doesn't exit the room without saying goodbye. Love stays, it lingers, it soaks into the silence like music that hasn't stopped, even when the song is over, when he remains in that moment, when he answers the silence with softness instead of retreat. That's not just affection, that's trust in action. So don't just watch how he touches you when he wants something. Watch how he holds you when the wanting is over. Because the kind of love that stays after, it's the kind that stays for life. And now stay close, because what's coming next might be the most powerful sign of all. It doesn't show up in words. It's not even in what he does on purpose. It's in the way your bodies begin to move without effort, like two instruments tuning to the same song. The language of real love, it's not always spoken. Sometimes it's felt. Sometimes it's danced by the soul. Number 4, the dance of the unconscious. When bodies align, when movement synchronizes, when souls speak without sound. This isn't some learned choreography, this is chemistry. This is the soul saying, I see home in you. You'll feel it when it happens, because when the love is real, your bodies don't just connect, they respond. They talk in ways your minds can't, not with logic, not with control, but through an ancient rhythm, one that needs no rehearsal. Have you ever laid next to someone and suddenly realized you were breathing in perfect sync? That every time you stretched, his hand seemed to move with you, as if guided by something deeper than thought? That's not coincidence. That's not copying. That's merging. Carl Jung called it participation mystique, the moment when the border between two people dissolves and the unconscious minds take over. That's the magic moment when love stops being something you do and becomes something you are. Here's the beautiful part. You probably won't even notice it right away. It's too smooth, too natural, too pure. It's only afterward, when you're reflecting on it alone, that it hits you. You'll think, how did we move like that? Like your bodies shed a language, like your souls wrote a poem together without ever picking up a pen.